Get your recording going.
Recording and bring the music in a little bit. So we're back again now.
Yes, we are back for another episode of A Few Points from Perfect. Now, I'd have to say this is probably the one I'm the most nervous about
Now, why are you nervous?
because we have my grandparents here today.
Yes, we do. And I am loving the conversation
If there's
so far.
anybody in this world that's got dirt on me, it's these two.
Oh, yeah?
What do you mean dirt?
You know
Just
I'm-
on your clothes, that's all I know.
Well, Grandma, you've known me for how long?
And you've always been dirty.
You've always been dirty.
Clothes, outside.
You
But
guys always told me never change who you are.
She has a different definition of dirt. When it comes to
I used to always growing up, I'd always have stains on my clothes.
Yeah.
And everybody tell me I need to clean my clothes. My response would be, it's clean dirt. If it don't come off with soap and water, it's clean dirt. It's good to keep going.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's a difference between dirty dirt and clean dirt. I had clean dirt. But Grandma always felt sorry for me, so she'd take my clothes and wash them in some special sauce. And she still does today.
bottom line is, he's still in control.
Yeah. So you're telling me you have your mother clean your bathroom
No,
and your grandmother does your laundry?
I actually pay some of
no, not that much.
Oh, no.
No,
just
just-
the dirty stuff?
But just once in a while, I mean,
She's told me
I
my
try
whole
to
life.
help his wife.
Okay.
She's told me my whole life I walk around looking like an orphan.
She's not wrong.
Well, anyways, I think before we go too far down this road, we need to figure out a little bit about these two.
Yes.
So obviously, I've only known you guys as long as I've been alive, which is about 40 years. But you guys lived the whole life before I even come along.
That's right.
So
And a good one, too.
yeah, so you guys have been married 62 years,
65.
65 years. Wow.
Congratulations.
Could you
It'll be
imagine?
66 this year. Yeah, same man.
Are we allowed to say?
What was the question there?
I said I've been married 65 years to the same
but-
man.
Well, what was the question?
How
there?
long you guys have been married?
Oh, been married all my life.
So 65 years. Are we allowed to say how old you are?
I'll be 86 this year.
86. I was going to guess 85. I was going to be here. Well, you are 85. Going to be 86.
I'll be 86 in May.
And she's older than I am.
By like 2 months.
Well, damn it, she's older than I am.
Thank God.
Because you'll be 86 in May, and Grandpa will be 86 in July, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You must have been kind of checking up.
No, I'm May 14th.
Yeah.
No, Grandpa's is the 20...
July the 16th.
16th.
No, 26.
26. See, I was in the 20s. I was right there, Grandma.
Yeah.
Must have slipped one in on me.
All right, so 65 years. I don't even know. We talked about this. For people who don't know, we actually got a video on my channel. Grandpa's dad tragically passed away in a mining accident whenever you were 12, 14?
Something like that. I'm trying to think what year it was, Janice.
It was 12, not 48, I think.
48.
So we did a little bit of video on the channel there, and Grandma briefly talked about how you guys met. You want to cover that a little bit?
At a free show.
Free
That's how cheap he
Now,
was.
now, back in the day, a free show meant a little something different to what a free show means today. So you may want to explain that just a little bit.
Okay, in the town of Troy, it was like 600 people and one gripe. But anyway, we always had a free show behind the school gym.
No, was this like a concert?
No, it was on the
Oh, this is like
back-
a movie screen.
movie screen.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we had Lauren Hardy and all kind of good ones. Every Wednesday night, I think, wasn't it, Bob?
I'm thinking they came weekly, but
Yeah, it was weekly.
I don't have
And then
total recall.
somebody would go around and pick up some money or take money out.
So you grew up in Troy.
Yeah,
Grandpa grew up in Tell City,
Right.
which is like 3 miles apart.
Right.
Same county, same area. We still live in that area yet today.
Right.
So this is where you guys met. You remember how old you were?
how what?
How old you were whenever you met Grandpa?
I was about 16 because I couldn't go with anybody until I was 16.
So was Grandpa the only person you've ever dated?
Oh, a lot of them walked me home.
Well, I had another girlfriend, and I dropped her for her.
We're gonna get into the good dirt now.
He was going with the mayor's daughter in Tell City at that time, and she went on vacation. He came down to the free show,
When he met you.
and he met me, and we went over to Red and Eileen's, which was a tavern.
At 16?
Yeah, but it had a family room.
Oh, so you
yeah,
left that detail
yeah,
out.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. God, yeah. He don't drink.
So from there was so you were 16. Well, how old were you guys when you got married? I guess
20.
20. So you dated for basically 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you guys got married, you lived in Troy, right?
No, Rick was
Lived
born
in
in
County for a
Townsend.
short time.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
Up
a
there,
friend's house. She
Ruth and Ray Gunn. We
Yeah.
rented a upstairs apartment.
he was a truck driver and he was gone a lot, so I stayed with her, and then he came along, so he stayed there.
So whenever you guys first got married, and I think this will play a little longer into the story. Were you a hairdresser at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And what was Grandpa doing? What were you doing, Grandpa?
Worked for Hall Dairy, I guess.
So you were driving a milk truck.
Right.
So there's always a story we always grew up as kids as to how you wrecked a milk truck in a cow pasture.
In a cow pasture.
Yeah.
You what now?
The story about how you wrecked the milk truck. Rick used to always tell this story.
Oh, Rick, he does tell
Well, I don't-
stories.
It's probably,
You wrecked it.
I don't remember.
You what?
Trish said it in story.
He wrecked a truck going down Hallsville, that road
Was
there.
this the milk truck?
Indian Lake milk truck.
Okay.
But it wasn't that bad. It was snowing and that, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
I mean, he didn't get hurt.
So whenever
It
you
just hurt
guys
the truck.
you guys first got married, Grandpa's driving a milk truck. You're cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have that right?
Yeah, I was
And
cutting hair
then-
before we got married.
Okay, then you guys had 3 kids, and Rick's being the oldest.
Right.
So was Rick born yet, or?
He was born in, we lived in County,
Okay.
and we lived up there for about 9 months.
Okay.
And then we moved to Troy, to an old, back behind the barber shop my dad
Yeah.
owned. And we had 2 rooms. The first, a bathroom. Well, we had a bathroom and a kitchen. We didn't need a kitchen, but we had one. Yeah.
So whenever you didn't need a kitchen, I guess you didn't do much cooking back then either. Some things never change.
That surprised you?
So at some point, things started transitioning again transitioned at some point because you guys became very successful in the insurance business. I know.
His dad was insured with Lincoln National, and he came over to see us after we got married at County, and he
Fellow
talked.
by the name of Bill Elmer.
Yeah, and he talked about, didn't talk him, but he suggested he go in the insurance business, which he done very well.
So how long have you guys been married whenever you got in the insurance business?
Well, to see, Rick was about 2-3 years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was quite earlier.
That was life insurance,
Right.
no casualty or anything.
So casualty life insurance, the best way I know how to explain that is one, you're insuring your health and your life, and the other end, you're insuring your car and your house.
Contents,
Right.
yeah,
It's either you or your things. Does that
Yeah.
make
Right.
sense?
yeah,
So Grandpa was in life and health
yeah,
for
right.
the most part.
Right.
Wasn't insuring people, or wasn't insuring buildings or automobiles. And
Not
stuff
that
like
time.
That. Okay. So how long were you in the insurance business before it kind of started becoming fairly successful?
A long time.
Well,
I don't
know.
Grandma brings my point up because people in my generation, which is the grandkids, we've never known you guys as anything but super
yeah.
successful. But I know for a fact from talking to you guys and looking back through history, there was a lot of years of, I don't know if struggle is the right word, but it was just
No,
perseverance.
we didn't know any different.
Right.
Well,
We were brought
my
up that
memory tells me that I became an active employee without, in a sense, subsidy.
Okay.
Right.
In other words, you could, a couple ways you could enter the business. One, you'd enter the business with a guaranteed income over a period of time,
So basically, you have a baseline pay.
had a baseline pay, but you had to pay it back if you stayed.
Okay.
And I just took whatever I earned.
So basically, you got commission.
Yeah. Strictly commission.
So starting off cold turkey with just commission had to be pretty.
Right.
$50 the
But
one month.
She was the
$50
beautician.
a month.
Well, $50 one month, but I was a hairdresser.
So
and
you were kind of supporting
I
the family at
support-
She
that
was
time.
We only
source
had
of
Rick.
support.
Only had Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many years do you think you were doing that until you were kind of making ends meet, Grandpa?
Till I what now?
You were kind of making some decent money. How many years did you have to put in selling insurance to start seeing a
I
return
re-
on your time?
I don't really. I'm trying to think. What year did I start there? 48?
No, that was when your dad got killed.
When I what?
Your dad got killed in 48. You were
48.
still in school. He did it for
I
about,
didn't graduate until 54.
yeah, yeah.
So-
I'd say,
But see, she's the beautician,
Right, right.
so she had income, and that way.
So
if
whenever
you-
she was working, were you staying at home watching Rick?
No. But if I would take
he would work from,
an advance from Lincoln, I would have to pay it back.
Right.
So I never did take advance. I just took whatever I earned.
Kept going. So were you, what would you say, 5 years into it before he
I'd
was?
say 10, and then we bought a
So you-
small.
So you're going 10 years down the insurance road before you really seen a whole lot of income.
But he had a little, we could make it. But then there was a casualty business, which had been in Troy for years, a Snyder.
Funeral
Hagedorn.
director.
Yeah. And then we had a trailer court,
And I would help out on days of funerals.
yeah.
Just to make a little bit extra money.
Or
Well,
if there were, or if there was a ambulance run or a wreck or something, he would be. We used to have this trailer court like 19, and when they put the dam in at Counts, there was a lot of people that came in. We had a lot of good breaks, and they wanted some place to put their trailers, so we happened to buy that land next to the house there. And
Which is still a trailer court today.
no, we got a dollar store.
Well.
there. See, you haven't been in town lately.
Most of it's still a trailer court. Or the
Yeah.
corner of it's a dollar store now. Most of it's
Yeah,
still a
but
trailer
no,
court.
we sold that.
I lived in that trailer court, Gamble. I grew up in that trailer court. I just the only guy that had a house.
But those people from the dam, they came down and they were concrete mixers, and they made all the patios,
Well, they
the big
supplemented
ones. And then all
developing
we
it.
had to do was
That's how
pay-
that concrete got poured.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah. That's how come the patios are big.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll fast forward here a little bit, but you obviously end up having 2 more kids. The middle one being my mom,
Paul,
and then the youngest one being
Lisa.
And then, I mean, the insurance business obviously took off because by
Well-
the time I come around in the 80s, that was a booming place.
Well, Rick went into the life insurance, but Bob and him didn't get along, so he went back to Evansville, and he came back and took over the casualty business, and he done a very good job in that too.
Yeah, so basically, as I remember the insurance office as a kid, Grandma was the bookkeeper or the office manager. Was that the best way to put it?
Still am.
Office manager. Rick kind of ran. I guess they kind of ran parallel next to each other because Rick ran all the casualty
Yeah.
and that stuff, and he grew that side of the business quite well.
Yeah,
And then
they help
Grandpa,
you.
because your bread and butter, Grandpa, kind of ended up being the school systems, right? Didn't you do
Well,
a lot of work with
teachers.
school systems, teachers?
Teachers' payroll deduction, primarily, and then other kinds of insurance, but that was the core business. That was my, every year you call on a teacher and they're saving money through payroll deduction. You want to increase that? Oh yeah, I'll do that. That's like a new sale.
Right.
That increase, and it worked out very well.
And then that naturally kind of turned into, I mean, you weren't a broker by any stretch of the imagination, but you did a lot of investing and stuff.
Did a lot of investing.
You guys,
Advisor.
advisor, I guess. that's
Insurance
it.
advisor.
Well, and then the funeral director, Cy Haggerton, he had a casualty business over there, and
Yeah, that's what I said. Rick took.
so
Yeah, Rick took that over.
yeah,
Yeah.
I took it over, and then Rex has taken over there.
So whenever I come around, I don't know what my earliest memories are. Probably mid '80s.
I don't know.
The insurance office was a booming place.
Do we have it in the house then?
No, I barely remember it. I think what I remember is it moving from the house down to the building.
I
the
remember
office.
you, when Bob was working down there at the office, you was sitting in your little thing.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I remember the old office at the house, but I don't remember it being the office.
Yeah, because we moved down there right
Yeah,
away.
and
And we, yeah.
but I because Lisa used to have a bunch of cats out there. I remember that. She used to always come by and feed them. That's a whole other long story. So,
Say that again.
Lisa used to have some cats in the old office when it was at the house, which is a family room. Actually, it's your bedroom now.
Yeah, 19 of them at one time.
Yeah. Grandma still
That's a long
remembers.
cast.
So, as I remember the insurance office, my first memories of it is it was a busy place. You stayed the heck out of the way. There's people flying up and down the hallways. You didn't mess with stuff on the break table. It was a place of business. But Mom had one office down there, which was a beauty shop because Mom
Right.
was in the hair business. And then Grandma's brother Bill had another spot down there. He was a
Beauty
Hair
barber.
barber shop.
Barbershop.
Okay.
So, you know, that's where I spent a lot of time at. I'd get off the bus down there sometimes, and Rick, which is my uncle, the oldest of Grandma and Grandpa, his oldest son Ben was, what, 3 years younger than me?
I think
3 or
so.
4 years younger than me. So me and him were, Rick lived down across the street from the insurance office, so me and Ben were always over there. At that time, the whole back of the office was just a storage facility, so we were always over there playing and having a good time. I spent a lot of time at the insurance office.
So the hair salon portion, this is where your mom was showing the picture of you to Jenna?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a different hair salon.
Oh, different
hair
one?
salon.
Okay.
Because after Dad got killed, Mom ended up moving to a different salon because she was the only one in Troy and she wanted to be with her friends. So,
Okay.
and the insurance office had grown to the point where they needed the space because Mom's hair salon is now the conference room.
Okay.
I mean, even to this day, it's still rapidly growing. The insurance office.
Yeah, we don't know how much, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's-
Rick's in charge of it now.
Yeah.
Does a
Grandpa.
good
Grandpa
job.
retired what, 5, 6 years
I'd
ago?
say 5
Yeah.
years ago.
5 years
Well,
ago.
and my focus primarily was life and savings to teachers
Right.
with supplemental
Financing.
casualty
Financing.
financing. But Rick focused more on car and home
Right.
and etc.
So, back to Grandma's comment about the trailer court. So Grandma and Grandpa got a really nice house sitting on Main Road, and at one time, a lot of that was pasture, wasn't it? Whenever Mom and
Oh, yeah.
and they developed that into a trailer court. And Grandma and Grandpa were nice enough. I don't know what the arrangement was, but somehow Mom and Dad ended up with the back acre,
Mm-hmm.
and they built a nice house back there, which is where I grew up at. So the joke always was, I grew up in a trailer court. I was just the only kid that had a house, which is 100% true. So, but with that being said, I couldn't quite see Grandma's house from my house, but you were, I mean, walking 2-3 minute walking distance
Yeah.
away from the house. I mean,
Right.
we Grandma's house, the trailer courts, and my house were basically all on the same property.
Yeah.
Right.
It is, you know, Grandma owned everything.
It was
in
the
between.
same property until.
Yeah, it was the same property until, you know, I guess except for the acre that
Right.
they deeded over to Mom.
It's the acre, I don't know how long.
I think it was an acre at one time.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Mom's due to circumstances, Mom since sold the house, but Grandma and Grandpa still live there on the property. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only thing else you've sold off is the one corner to the dollar store, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Still got everything else. But to kind of paint the picture, growing up as a kid, you guys got to remember there was my house, and I got this in a few videos. There was my house, there was an old barn in between, and there was Grandma and Grandpa's house. And I spent probably more time in either that barn or Grandma and Grandpa's house than I did my own house.
I think you showed me that barn before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you showed it the inside too, but it was cleaned out then.
Yeah, Grandma took all my stuff out, but that's where I'd always go, and I was always down there tinkering. I don't.
Yeah.
You wanna? You
Somebody was down there the other day wanting to get that case lawnmower.
Nope, can't have that.
I said, I think Michael's got his.
She's always trying to get my stuff away. She can't stand clutter.
Do you own that case?
I do own
I
that
thought it
case.
was mine.
Well, it was yours, and then Grandma had Wayne Simon redo it for me.
He didn't. Yeah, that's right. Rain. That's who that was talking
Yeah.
to.
And,
Rick Knable the other day about. Have they got that case lawnmower down there yet? And he said, I did some work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. But yeah, I mean, so growing up, and Ben, I should include Ben in that because Ben was down there a lot.
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
Because my cousin Ben, we all grew up right there,
Right.
close together. And man, Grandpa had a woodworking shop upstairs, and the downstairs was kind of a catch-all. And then at one time, you had an oil well business, a lot of stuff in there from the oil well.
Had a what?
business. The oil well, Trojan oil.
Well, yeah, you had some.
Had some stuff
You had
down
some
there from
equipment that you
But
stored or used.
as I got a little bit older, I kind of cleaned out some spots there in the bottom and claimed my own space. And I mean, that's where I learned how to mechanic. That's where I learned how to weld.
This is where you built a go-kart, right?
That's where I built a go-kart.
It's still upstairs.
Is it?
Yeah, parts of it are, yeah. Still up
Okay.
there. I tried to turn it into a drag line, didn't quite get her finished. But I built a go-kart completely out of wood. That thing was awesome, Grandma. You remember that thing? Grandma didn't like it. It made her nervous. I only ran over my brother twice.
Only twice, huh?
He's mostly okay. You've met him.
He's okay yet.
So, but growing up as a kid, I don't know if it was because, and Grandma, you can say whatever you want to here. I don't know if it was because I was the first grandkid, or if it was because I just took orders or what, but she had me working 24/7. It's probably where I got my work ethic from, is sun up and sun down, we were doing something. Whether
Yeah,
it was
we were always doing something.
mowing grass, volunteering around town, cutting the cemetery,
Yeah.
sweeping the streets.
Yeah.
You were my first employer.
Good pay too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then when I got my first tax lesson from Grandma, because I could not get paid over $600.
You got your first what?
Tax lesson.
Is that right?
Yeah, she didn't want to pay me over $600 because then she'd have to 1099 me. So.
Now you got that on the recording.
She never did pay me over $600, Grandpa. I think it was just a trap. to get
Yeah,
me to
but
work.
you just acknowledged as to how that happened.
She was also my first bank. I think I got my first loan from her to buy a four-wheeler at one. Did I ever pay you back for that?
Uh-uh.
You got your first loan what?
Now you got that on camera.
Maybe I should have brought that up.
A couple other kids that did that. I just
Well, the
marked
good
it off.
news is-
What'd you do?
Borrowed some money to buy a four-wheeler. The good news
Borrowed
is,
some money to,
Buy a four-wheeler.
okay.
the good news is you did repo the four-wheeler because it's still in the barn down there that you own.
The four-wheeler?
Yeah, that's the one.
In our barn?
Yeah,
Where's it at?
down there in the back corner as you go into the left back there.
I have to go check it out. I might
So-
sell it.
Get your money back.
I'll buy it. Well, now what was the interest rate on that?
Oh
loan?
yeah, we may not want to do the math.
No,
on
we
that.
do.
It
Yeah.
may not turn out the best. I thought I paid that back.
I don't know. It doesn't make any difference. I might want to get it now.
So I guess I don't know. Looking back, there was a lot of life lessons there learned between the age of what, probably 8 to 15.
Yeah. You kept working.
I kept working. Grandma kept me busy.
And she would not quit at 15 teaching you how to live and what to do.
No, I
So
mean,
you better spend that out a little bit.
if Grandma's one thing, I don't know if opinionated is the right word. We don't have to wonder what you're thinking because you'll pretty much tell us.
Yeah.
Now say again.
I said we don't have to wonder what she's thinking because she'll usually tell us. Grandma.
Okay.
So
That's how it should be.
a lot of truth to that. So what? So like, what do you remember of us growing up as kids? You remember us being brats or workaholics or
I don't think anybody's alcoholics were they?
workaholic?
Workaholic. They all work good.
I remember working a lot and doing a lot, but I also remember.
But it was
enjoying
always fun.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's what Bob and I, we used to always work, but we enjoyed it.
Because through the week, I would always help you.
Mm-hmm.
We would a lot of grass cutting and yard work and work around the trailer court, stuff like that. But on the weekends, Grandpa, we never really see Grandpa a whole lot through the week. He worked a lot.
You got it.
But on the weekends, me and Ben would always go with Grandpa either to the oil wells, or we'd go up there to the farm.
What was the second one?
To the farm.
Yeah.
Which is the farm is where basically I live at today up here in Derby. So looking back on that time, it's amazing me and Ben are still alive.
Say that again.
I said looking back on that, I think it's amazing me and Ben are still alive.
Oh.
All three of them.
Yeah, all three of us. That's a good point. Because Grandpa is a lot of things in life. A lot of things in life. An equipment operator is not one of them. Of course, my dad was a pretty good equipment operator, and he would cringe every time Grandpa would go do something. Grandpa, I'm not picking on you, Grandpa, I promise, but he'd buy a brand new tractor, and 3 weeks later it looked like it'd been through World War III. And you'd ask Grandpa what happened to the tractor. His response was, "I bought it."
I got the damn thing to use, not to look at.
See, yes, I agree with you. And I'd always say, "Grandpa, why don't you use it, and not abuse it?" And then he would remind me who paid for the tractor. He says if that one quits, he'll just go buy another one.
That's right.
Always found this fascinating about Grandpa. And Grandpa, you may not remember this, is he will go Mentos Market. I remember going into Mentos Market one day, and they raised the price of a cup of coffee a nickel. And we were gonna go to war over this nickel. I mean, this was not. We needed evidence of why we raised this a nickel. This was not gonna happen. We were in there for 20 minutes arguing about this nickel raise on coffee. We go to the dealership, buy a tractor for X amount of money. Okay, sounds good. Just right there.
Well, you
But
can
the
buy
two
a tractor
places
if you
you
save
can-
your nickels.
The two places we could possibly negotiate here, I would have took my chances on the tractor, not the cup of coffee. But but he's always been that way. Grandpa, that's his job. He's in sales. That's his price. Okay.
Don't remember that.
So, anyways, we got a little bit off subject there. So, but I guess fast forwarding a little bit, as I started getting older, and I've talked about this in some other videos. Grandma and Grandpa bought that little 655 John Deere tractor, and I started
What?
that little John Deere tractor.
Okay.
I
It's
still got it. Yeah.
I know it's mine, knowing it,
I think so.
It was always hers.
but he's using it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it for you, Grandma.
This is where that goes. That list.
Yeah. Grandma shows up with a podcast today with a list. I think it's talking points. No, it's a to-do list.
Yeah. And I'm sure up there on that list is to wash her tractor.
I'm sure it probably.
You better get to it.
Sure, it probably is. But so, anyways, with that little tractor, that's where I first kind of started getting into dabbling, doing some stuff for hire, some business. I graded a lot of driveways around Troy.
You and Ben both. I mean,
Yeah,
shoveled snow.
did snow removal, graded some driveways, mowed some yards.
He was always on the tractor. Poor Ben was back there shoveling snow.
Seniority, right?
He was older.
Yes, yeah. Ben likes shovels. I bought him a new shovel one year.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh, nice of you. Real nice of you.
But as I got a little older, obviously I've got some of my, I didn't go to school to be in business. A lot of my business knowledge has come. Everybody on Grandma's side of the family, or Grandma and Grandpa's side of the family is self-employed. Mom was self-employed in the hair business. Rick was self-employed in the insurance business with the Grandpa. And then Lisa, the younger one, she married a real estate developer, I guess is the
Yeah.
best way to describe Randy. And they were self-employed in
Partner.
their business. And everybody was very successful at what they did.
Yeah.
The one question I get asked all the time is, why didn't I get in the insurance business? And the first reason is I had zero interest in it. Like that just did not interest me at all. I'm a hands-on.
Well, and
30
see, my thought goes through my mind when you talk about that. Not everybody is. I don't know how to say it, but would be.
It's just not for everybody.
That's right. In other words, that's not what they wanted to do.
So my first answer is, why did I go to the insurance business? One, it don't interest me, and two, it's not a pride thing. I just wanted something of my own. Like I wanted to start from zero and get to where I'm at on my own. Everybody else in my family did it to some extent. I wanted to.
You want to do something with your hands.
Right, and I wanted to follow my own path. I wanted
Yeah.
to.
Right.
I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. Whether it was going to be construction or excavating or mechanicing. But I knew it was going to be something hands-on, and typing on a keyboard is not my definition of hands-on. So
You've been very successful. We're proud of you.
well, I appreciate that. So, but obviously, I didn't go to school to be in business, but I got a lot of business people around me I was able to learn from over the years. There's two pieces of business advice Grandpa always gave me that I'll never forget. You know what they are?
No.
One, pay your damn bills.
Right.
That's the first thing he ever says. Pay your damn bills. The second one is treat everybody the same.
Right.
That was the two things that have always stuck with me: is pay your damn bills and treat everybody the same. Because that's what you used to always preach in the insurance business or any business there was out there. Is if you pay your bills, you'll get respect, and if you need a favor, you can call one in.
Right.
And if you and treat everybody the same, as everybody is equal. It don't matter if you're the president of the bank or if you're the person at school sweeping the floors as a janitor. You're going to get the exact same service out of this guy, good or bad or indifferent.
As it should be.
Now, I'm not saying I've followed those two things to a T. I'm not perfect. I got my faults, but those two things are always roll around the back of my head as two good cornerstones to move.
Well, see, if you got that in your, I want to say memory or
Conscious.
your character or whatever,
Right,
it automatically happens correctly.
right. And the other big thing that I learned from pretty much my whole family, I mean, Grandma and Grandpa are probably obviously a big part of that, is work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't stand around with your hand out. If you want something,
Go get,
Go
you do
get
it.
Yeah.
don't ask favors. Just figure out how to do it yourself. Just
Yeah.
push forward and work through it. And if times get tough, you just bury your head in the sand and.
We got notes coming out. I
Oh,
think.
Grandma's getting notes coming out. So, but that's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way I mean, everybody in my family, from Mom to Rick to Lisa to a lot of us grandkids. I mean, most
Yeah,
of us
really
have,
the grandkids, yeah.
most of us have just like dug our heels in the sand, and
Proud of all of them, really.
we've all had.
And we've had good health with all of them, too, so
You
far.
know, we've been very fortunate.
Yeah.
Very fortunate with that. So, so today, Grandma, you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Just so our notes come in. Do you know how many husbands you have? Just one.
Having what in our house?
Husbands.
Oh,
I've been-
Aspen.
You're still the only one. How many grandkids?
Let me see. Let's see.
I thought it was 11. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. Rick's got 2. See, Rick's got 2 grandchildren and 3 steps,
Yeah.
you know. And I,
Well, Rick's got. Let's just go with. I mean, we treat everybody the same, but Rick's got 2
2,
kids.
and Paula's got 3,
You know,
and
Lisa's
Lisa's
got
got 3, so that's
That's 8.
8.
8,
Yeah.
okay. And then we go down to what?
Step grandchildren.
Hmm.
Step grandchildren, we got
So I have
3.
some step family members because my dad passed away and my mom remarried,
Yeah, I got those on there.
which is Brad and Ben.
Yeah.
And then Rick got divorced and remarried a lady that had 3 kids.
She had, yeah,
And
she
they've
had
been in
3.
the family. And to Grandpa and Grandma's point, treat everybody the same. Once they married into the family, they're considered,
Yeah.
So that's
Pretty much.
13 by my math.
yeah, so 13. And then you got a few great grandkids.
I got 10 great grandkids.
You have 10 great grandkids? Wow. I'm only
You
responsible.
got that I
And,
got,
and then 5
not
steps.
we.
Yeah. No, I'm only responsible for 2 of those
That's a
great
big family.
grandkids.
Yeah, but then Andy's got 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Ben and Emily.
yeah, Ben and Emily. Ben has 2.
Emily
And then
has.
Emily has 1 that she's expecting again.
So, out of all the grandkids on your side of the family, I am the oldest,
Yes.
and which makes me the favorite.
I would say so.
It's always been that way.
Well, you know what? My mother, Rick wasn't her favorite, but
Poor Rick.
but he was really. But anyway, you know, you always something special about your first child, first grandchild, and you happen to be it.
So I'm the favorite by default.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
because I'm actually the favorite. I'm the favorite
Yeah,
by
yeah.
default.
But all my kids are great, are good.
Yeah, you've been.
Been very fortunate with
The
them.
family's been very fortunate because all of them are. All the grandkids are in the professional world now,
Yeah,
and they're all successful.
Yep.
Ben's partners in a big manufacturing firm, and some of them are in the insurance business in different
yeah,
aspects, and then Emily's doing the TT. Yeah, I can't go down the list,
Yeah,
but
they- yep.
there's too many of them. We're not quite as close as I'd like to be because everybody's so spread out.
that's what happens though.
But we still see each other all. I mean, the whole family still gets along, which is
Turtle soup.
a little bit unusual. So it's been good. I've always said growing up, the mom's side of the family, which is grandparents here, was the Harpendale side. Dad's side was the Simon side, and the upbringing and the backgrounds could not be more opposite.
Yeah, that would be.
Is
Yeah,
that a way to put it?
yeah, it'd be good.
I always
Way.
used to make the joke a little bit. You'd go to Christmas with Harpin outside, and they're all sitting around suits and ties talking about stocks and insurance. You go to the Simon side, and they're all in their bib overalls talking about their cows and chickens and
Getting into an argument who's
getting
got
into
the
an
most.
argument. Yeah. So, but it was cool for me because I got to see both worlds.
That's right.
You know, I took stuff out of both, so it wasn't all bad. So it worked out pretty good. So I think transition here a little bit. I think the most interesting thing most people would find out about Grandma right now is she watches every one of my videos and reads every comment.
Yeah, I like the comments.
And if she ever figures out how to comment back, we are in trouble.
Oh, I'll teach her.
I don't know how to do that.
I'll show you. It's easy.
I'm a slow learner.
That's okay. I got plenty of time.
She says she's a slow learner, but she comes with an iPhone and an iPad.
I just saw that, yeah.
Well, I didn't know how Barry put this thing on YouTube
Uh-huh.
that you're doing now.
Yeah, the podcast.
Yeah, and I can't. I got 100%.
This being recorded now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we'll get you set up here in a little bit, Grandma. Where you
Okay.
you can watch it. I promise. So
Yeah, and I'll teach you how to comment.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know if
don't.
that's going to be good for my channel because Grandma gets a little defensive.
That's okay.
I don't want to comment because like with people birthdays and stuff like that. I'd like to comment on that, but then I'd most probably miss somebody's an idiot.
Well,
So Grandma reads all my comments, and every once in a while she'll call me and somehow comment that I'm doing stuff unsafe because she wants to talk about it.
Once you take it off.
You've been what?
Doing something unsafe. Grandpa,
Unsafe.
could you imagine if I had YouTube back whenever you were out farming?
Oh, God.
Do you think the comments we get there, Grandma?
I don't think I like that reverse intent of that statement.
We would get some good views.
Well, you know, the hell of it is you go out there and work.
Well,
Not-
you
not-
have it.
Not
But how
that-
many times did you
Out
get?
of what 52 weekends a year we come to the farm, I would say probably half of those we left either the tractor broke or stuck.
Should have got a wrecker.
And the best story I got on Grandpa that comes to mind is the time he caught the tractor on fire on top of the brush pile, and then he rear-ended the fire truck. He rear-ended the fire truck trying to get it to the fire. So he burned his tractor up and wrecked his truck.
I don't remember that.
Short-term memory. Helps out once in a while, doesn't it,
And,
Bob?
then he'd go home and go to church like nothing happened, just a normal day on the farm.
well, you know.
My statement has always been, I got the damn thing to use, not to look at.
Yeah, and don't sweat the small stuff.
So what do you think about all this YouTube stuff, Grandma?
Well, I like yours, but I don't watch anybody else's.
You don't watch anybody else, you just watch me?
Agents,
Logger Wade?
yeah, uh-huh.
There is.
I don't really have that much time to watch it because we go in the bedroom and then he's watching television and he gets up and goes to bed and then I watch YouTube and he kept saying, when you coming to bed, I need a body.
So there is, speaking of Logger Wade, he's got a video on his channel. I can't remember the name of it. But Wade, Grandpa, and myself went and did a tour of the clock down at Troy. You remember that, Grandpa?
No, I don't really.
And it's a
Oh, yeah.
really good video of the old. I got a video of the clock on my channel as well, but Grandpa's not in it. But the one on Wade's channel, Grandpa's actually in, explaining how it all works and everything.
Really?
And I think Wade actually did it as a two-part because he kind of compared it to grandfather clock he had in his house at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of it on Wade's channel. If you guys go back on Logger Wade's channel and can find that video of that clock, it's
Okay, I might do that.
a really good video.
John Toggle's wanting it now.
Yeah, I
Keeps
trained
it.
him.
Yeah, I know it. But he's right on, I went down at church one Thursday morning and I couldn't figure out who, somebody was in church. And finally he came down the steps and he said he comes
So-
every Thursday morning.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, in our hometown there's a big Catholic church, and that Catholic church actually has a gravity-drawn clock that
Yeah.
runs 4 clock faces and rings the bells. And in what was it, in the 80s, Grandpa took this whole thing apart piece by piece, carried it down out of the church, refurbished it,
To begin, it wouldn't run.
put it back together, wouldn't run. And actually, in that video with Wade, we cover why it wouldn't run because we had some bevels back, so it's on the wishbone.
Right.
And then Grandpa maintained this clock from the mid 80s up until about 2014 or 15.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think John Togle said it.
Of course, as I got older, I was able to jump in and help quite a bit. And then Grandpa's health, unfortunately, wouldn't let him get up there to do it anymore. And
Wasn't my health, it was,
well, she was looking out for your best interest, Grandpa.
okay.
So I trained up another local gentleman down there, Tuggle,
John.
John Tuggle, and he's been doing it for probably 4 or 5 years now.
I'd say every bit.
Because I took him down there and gave him the crash course on it. I said, "You got any questions? Call me." And I think he called me one time, and I haven't heard from him since.
He does, you know.
But it's a cool piece in Troy. A lot of people.
It's a town clock.
Yeah, it's town clock. It's
Well,
in the,
but
it's in the
It's
Catholic
a simple
church.
piece of equipment, really.
Right.
Does a lot of things, but it's really a very simple
It
piece of equipment.
it works out pretty well. So
How long ago do you think that video was?
it's probably 7 years ago or so. It's an old one.
Okay, I'm in the 2-year territory.
No, it's an old one.
I'll keep looking.
I bet you it's 5 to 7 years old. I found it one time a while back on Wade's channel. I can't remember what it's something. It's got a clock on the title. I don't remember what it is. So, I'm gonna ask you this question, Grandma. So we kind of covered that Mom was a Harper now. Dad was a Simon. And I think it's pretty obvious that everybody would probably agree that I take more after the Harpenhouse than I do the Simons.
I hope so.
First time I heard that. That I remember.
So, out of everybody on the Harpenau or Felposh side of the family, because you're a Felposh, who do I remind you of the most?
Say that again.
Bob.
Say that again.
I said, everybody on your guys' side of the family, whether it be Harpenau or Felposh, who do you think I'm the most alike?
Oh,
I'd say he. I mean, you know.
Grandpa?
Yeah, but really, you're your own person, really.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But you got his work ethic and you got a lot of his interest.
so I guess that's my next question. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
If you can
What was
stay
your
with,
question?
if you could stay with Jenna 65 years,
Now that might be a challenge. I'm working on it.
that's right.
I got the first quarter done.
It takes everything.
So 65 years of marriage. Who should I ask what the secret is? Grandpa or you?
The what now?
What the secret is to being married 65 years.
Ask him. He knows.
learn to say you're sorry and you won't do it again.
But do you have to actually be sorry and not do it again, or just say it?
I said say it. I didn't say you had to be honest.
So I think I've got that pretty much mastered, Grandpa. I may have hope for making it 65.
You got to pick your battles.
So, Grandpa, growing up, always used to have the golden rule. You remember the golden rule?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
The rule used to always be the man who has the goal makes the
Oh,
rules.
well, yeah, that.
That's what we'd go to the Derby, as a Derby General store at that time to get lunch when we were, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old. And we'd want something for lunch, and Grandpa would tell us, no, it's the golden rule. I mean, he's got the goal and makes the rules. So if he's paying, he's making the rules. But as we got older, we figured out that golden rule was a smokescreen. It wasn't true.
Do tell.
Grandma had the goal, not Grandpa. So we could bypass him. Me and Ben figured out just to bypass him. We didn't care what he had to say. We just didn't go and talk to Grandma. It worked for a couple years, Grandpa, but we seen how.
So is that the secret to the marriage then?
Do what now?
Is that the secret for the good marriage?
Just learn to shut up and walk away. Pick your battles.
So
I could do
It's one day I'm going to pick one.
So 65 years of marriage. Let's just go in that span. Like what stands out? What was the good times? What was the bad times? What was the milestones?
You know, Michael, to me, they were all good times. You just have to work through them.
Right.
You know, I can't, you know, and one thing about it, we always went to church. You know, and I think that's what's one thing with the couples nowadays, they don't go to church and they don't take their kids to church, or they don't take them to religion. I took them, but my kids didn't follow up. But no, I think you get out of the habit, you know.
You know, your church isn't the habit, but it is a habit. And when you get the habit, it happens without effort.
Right.
You just like walking.
You just do it.
You just do it.
And I remember my mother, I started working in a restaurant about, babysitting at 10, 12 years old. And maybe I'd get $3. And I had to put some money in. We had envelopes in the kids. We had to put money in the envelope every week.
Church envelope.
Church envelope. And we always, like a lot of times, we didn't have money to pay for the insurance back. But like Bob always says, pay your bills. Well, I won't say that. But anyway,
Everybody has tough times.
What was you
yeah.
going to
yeah,
say?
but we went around in the house, how you put money here and there.
Right.
It was only $18, but we found it.
Well, I think that's important though, Grandma, because all successful people weren't always successful.
No.
They all had.
Oh, we thought we were.
Well, but
Could make
everybody has to pay their dues, pay their times. Everybody has to go through the process, and the process is just putting in the time and the effort to get there. You can't, like to Grandpa's point, you said he had about 10 years before he was really making money. I'm air quoting making money in the insurance business. Most people nowadays would have done it 6 months and said, "This ain't for me. I'm done."
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
But he sat here and stuck with this for 10 years, and did very, very, very well at what he did. So.
And the trouble, he liked what he was doing.
Right, which definitely
Yeah.
definitely helps. So, one thing I want to hit on in closing a little bit is growing up as kids. Mom used to always talk about how strict Grandma and Grandpa were. Like they couldn't do, like soldiers. They couldn't do anything
I
without.
didn't know that, did you?
I don't recall.
That was a sarcastic
I don't
joke.
remember that.
So whenever I come up on as a grandkid, Mom's always like, "You get away with murder. She'd never let us do that. I'd just rule the roost." You know what I mean? I'm like, "What? Grandma's the nicest person ever. I don't know why you got a problem with her." Well, my mom, on the other hand, I never was scared of Dad. I was always scared of Mom. Mom was the one that would.
Oh, you're dead.
Yeah, my dad was a pushover. Mom, on the other hand, no, boy, you don't cross Mom. You're gonna go down a bad road if you cross Mom.
But, you look back, would you want your mother to be of any other direction?
No, I'm not complaining, but my point is now is I see how Mom is with my grandkids. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, but see, the responsibility is not as direct as it is as a parent.
I see some of this stuff Gunner's doing. I'm like, boy, if I did that as a kid, I'd be short of hung. And Mom's over there laughing at it. I'm like, what happened to you? Where'd you go?
Different generation, but different level of responsibility.
I don't know. I have zero complaints about my childhood growing up. I was very, very, very fortunate to live next door to these grandparents and have them in my life all the time. Have good parents myself, and I don't want to completely exclude the other side of the family. I had a lot of good relationships on that side of the family too. It was quite a bit different on that side of the family. Between the two sides of the family, different things the family was involved with. I was exposed to a lot of different stuff. Had a lot of different mentors in the family, including, Grandpa was as much a business mentor as a personal one, so was Grandma. I mean, Grandma, don't cut yourself short. You were heavily involved in the insurance business as well. You didn't actually sell the insurance.
No, I just was.
But you were a crucial part of the office to keep going.
And now I got a promotion. I'm a cleaner.
Oh.
Janitor. And I love it.
A lot less responsibility.
Yeah.
Keep tabs still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably gets paid the same as the sad part. is the crazy part. So, yeah, I have no complaints. It was taught me a lot growing up. I've applied a lot. I mean, I've had a lot of I've been fairly successful now, but there's still been struggles along the way. I kind of go back to Grandpa and others. You just got to put your time in.
Yeah.
Make good decisions.
That was one thing about it with him. He worked from he'd go down to the office at 6 o'clock and he wouldn't come home till 8, And then I had the kids in bed and he'd always want to see them,
If there's one thing Grandpa can do, it's get a couple kids riled up.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was good. But we had vacation. Lincoln was good to us. We went every year he wanted a vacation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing we did growing up as kids too. Is one year, Rick, Lisa, and Mom, which is your 3 kids, and then us grandkids, we'd always take one big vacation. And we did that pretty much until some of us started getting in college.
Yeah.
Then it got a little harder as some of us started getting in college.
But I'm saying Lincoln sent us,
right.
just Bob and I. And then later on, my kids could go, but they didn't want us to.
I've heard a lot of stories about Mom and the kids traveling on some of these trips.
Oh, I know it now too.
What stories do you hear?
I don't think they behaved quite as well as they were supposed to, Grandpa.
Well, in that one hotel, we were on about the 5th or 6th floor, and we'd get everybody. The agents were getting ready to go to a party. Well, they held the elevator up,
Oh,
and when we got downstairs, and
they were
somebody
acting like kids.
yeah, we downstairs, and
And then what was the guy's name that you always traveled with?
Bill Elmer.
Bill Elmer.
yeah,
I always hear the stories about how you guys wouldn't let them have ice cream and candy, so they'd go stake out in the hallway and figure out what room Elmer went into, then they'd just bill everything to his room.
I vaguely remember that. I forgot about that.
yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, so they were.
We was in.
You got to charge to their room.
Yeah, he charged it. Since you guys wouldn't let him have it, they just charged it to his room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same way they did when we was in Canada. It was light all day, you know. And Mr. Patmore was another one.
Oh,
And
Patmore, that was the other one, yeah.
Yeah, I think most probably Mr. Patmore, and they went there and they got ice cream and we was checking out with Mr. Patmore right after him. He said, "I did not get no ice cream. I didn't get this. I didn't get that." And I thought, Bob,
That's our kids.
that's why they didn't want the kids to go. But we had a lot of nice trips with Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never was in the business, but I know for a fact Lincoln was. You're pretty much with Lincoln from start to finish, weren't you?
Yeah, that's the only agent he wrote for.
Was Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah.
So, like in towards the end, I mean, like how many clients did you have? It was a bunch, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know what the clients. It's just what you qualify for the trip by producing what they recognized as new additional business.
Gotcha.
Not what you got there, but a new additional business. And if you met that, then you got the trip. And we met it.
Every year for over
Yeah.
50 years.
Every
Yeah.
year for 50 years.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many places we've gone.
Well,
We've been in every state.
I always remember whenever we went on vacation with Grandpa as a kid, it didn't matter if we was in the Bahamas or Florida or where, walking down the street, we were guaranteed to see somebody we knew.
walking down the street, what?
There was always somebody we knew.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you see the same people with Lincoln coming to the one location.
Well, this could just be,
Not this is the customer.
yeah,
Okay.
A client.
just a customer or a client.
Client.
I
yeah.
don't,
So,
don't regard that.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely, like I said, it was definitely interesting growing up. Pretty lucky.
But you never went on Lincoln trips.
No. Well, the trips we went on were
But just personal,
family.
yeah.
You
Bob and
guys
I.
would get everybody together.
Yeah.
For usually we'd go for a week.
Yeah, most probably.
Went to Opryland a lot. Went
Yeah.
to Florida a lot. Went on some cruises.
Yeah.
I was always the most well behaved one on the cruise.
Your mother taught you some good tricks, and
She scared me to death. She'd tell me what you were gonna do if I didn't behave.
She what now?
She scared me to death. She'd tell me what happens if you don't behave on these trips.
No.
I think she found out the hard way one time or another.
Yeah.
We actually have a podcast with Mom on the channel as well, and we talk about that a little bit. She was nice though, Grandma. She didn't say anything.
who's that?
Mom.
You got her on, John?
Mm-hmm. I think we should have Rick on a podcast. That'd be a good one. Well, Grandma and Grandpa, I appreciate you taking the time to come out and chat and share some things from your life and growing up and everything else.
We found out some things today that we didn't know.
That's usually the way this happens from time to time. So,
Yeah.
all right, well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed, and I think that's gonna be a wrap on another episode.
That was a good one.
Is that a good one?
I liked it.
Yeah, I don't think you said 3 words the whole time.
I like listening though.
Did you learn anything over there?
I did.
You learn more by listening than talking. Don't you?
That's right. Absolutely. I learned that when we go on vacation, I need to figure out what room you go into.
Oh boy. So, all right. Till next time, guys.
See you later.